For those of you that are on, thank you for joining us. We're just going to give it a few more minutes and allow other attendees to join, and we'll be getting started shortly. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keely Gideon Taylor. I am a member of the board of directors and currently the resource development and events chair for the chamber. I'll be co-hosting today along with our office manager, Tracy. Wave, Tracy. We'll both be handling the controls. So welcome to our Ask an Expert series that is generously sponsored by the city of West Palm Beach. They have agreed to come on and sponsor this series for the year. So today we have a very good presentation, which gives our members opportunity or share some opportunities beyond Palm Beach County. So I want to introduce our sponsor, who will then introduce our guest. So let me get to my screen here. So our sponsor is the city of West Palm Beach. Representing the city is Mr. Frank Hayden. Mr. Hayden is the director of the Office of Economic Opportunity at the city of West Palm Beach. He is responsible for working with small and minority women businesses and providing business opportunities in the city of West Palm Beach. Mr. Hayden is also the past chair of the Black Chamber. He is currently the membership chair of our chamber, where he is equally engaged in bringing those opportunities to our business members. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Frank Hayden, City of West Palm Beach.
Thank you, Ms. Keely. I truly do appreciate that warm introduction. And it has been a pleasure for us here in the city of West Palm Beach to sponsor these activities and these events with the Black Chamber. I think it's inherent upon us to partner with organizations such as the Black Chamber to provide information to not only those businesses who do business in the city of West Palm Beach, but throughout Palm Beach County. And so I met our presenter today when I was interacting with another group, which consisted of Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County to kind of form a coalition so that we could work collaboratively to provide opportunities for our businesses in the separate counties. Because as you know, folks from Miami travel to West Palm Beach to do business. People in West Palm Beach travel to Broward and also to Miami to do business. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for us to hear from the founder of the Black Chamber in Broward, and a very distinguished general counsel, which helped put together a lot of the programs that they're operating on to give our members an opportunity to hear about uh, programs that are going on in Broward. So with that, let me turn it over to our speaker for today, and so we can sit back and listen and learn. Welcome.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Thank you for the warm introduction, Keely, Tracy, and Frank. I appreciate being here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get right into it. I appreciate the invitation, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, Frank. Collaboration is key, and I kind of addressed that a little bit in my presentation towards the end. But you got our meeting wrong. I first met you because I was chasing down, when I first started the chamber here in Broward County, I wanted to work, because I believe in collaboration, with the Black Chamber up there in Palm Beach. And we actually did a collaborative event last January before the pandemic. And at Gilbane, I believe, in Palm Beach. So I was really happy. And I met you then right before I think you became the chair. But anyhow, thank you for the warm introduction. I'm happy to speak on the expanding opportunities in Broward County, because there's a lot going on, and there's more than enough opportunity for our Black businesses to work in Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade. And so with that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. I do appreciate the title being called an expert. I didn't know I was an expert, but hey, I'm going to take you through what I know and answer the questions as best as I can. So I'm going to go through some of the major projects we have going on here in Broward, a few of them, the larger spend type projects, and the projects that I say are going to kind of keep giving and giving as the years go by. So they're multi-year spend projects. So there's plenty of opportunity there. The first one I'm going to address is the Broward County Convention Center expansion. If any of you have been to our convention center, it's smaller, darker, older. And so we miss out on a lot of the large conventions and activities that, other cities end up getting. So there's this huge convention center expansion. It's going to enlarge the footprint to 1.2 million square feet. It's going to be a huge exhibition hall, 65,000 square foot waterfront ballroom. And included on that property, adjacent to it, will be an 800-room hotel. So as you see, this is a huge project, which means and translates into a lot of work for small businesses to participate on. The total cost is estimated to be above $1 billion. The last I talked to the Assistant County Administrator, Alan Cohen, working on the project, I think he told me it was about 1.2 billion. So it's up there, lots of money being spent. It's going to be located in a very, I would say, way where we can take advantage of the hotel, the convention center. It's right near where the cruise ships come in, not far from the beach and not too far from the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. And it's going to be by far the nicest hotel in the area. So we expect a lot of activity there. I want to include just some of the renderings so you understand the expanse of the project. And I'll go through parts of the project as we go further onto the slides. But there'll be this plaza area in the expansion. Here's the hotel that's going to be built, the 800-room hotel, which should have about, in our meeting last week with Balfour Beatty, they said should have about 11 restaurants on this property. So there's going to be a lot of activity going on here and lots of opportunity. Just another rendering to show you the waterfront that they're not going to take advantage of, because when you go to the convention center now, you don't get to see any of that view. It's the parking garage sits on the water, which wasn't real smart in the original build. And here we have just some of that expanded square footage to accommodate larger crowds. So just to give you an idea of what the project is made up of and where the opportunities will lie, initially, Broward County was just kind of hiring out a developer to come in and kind of do a public-private partnership, the program. But now the county is the actual owner of the hotel and the project. And they've hired Matthew Southwest, the developer, to go ahead and develop it. Matthew Southwest turned around and hired Balfour Beatty to actually design, build out the project. and they are not a self-performing company. So that's why you're going to see a lot of RFPs going out for the work that is going to take place on this project. In our meeting last week with them, they talked about the different parts of the project. So I have the latest and greatest information. So there's the west and east expansion, which is going of the convention center itself, which is going to include demolition, et cetera, and then a build. The hotel, which I just mentioned, the 800-room hotel. But there's also going to be a brand new convention and visitors bureau building that's going to be built completely out. And then the plaza. It's not just simply going to be a plaza of bricks and a walkway, but they're actually going to have some standalone retail out there, which we're also exploring for, you know, Black businesses to have opportunity there as well. So it's one thing to build all of these things, right? But once the building is completed and over, we still want our Black businesses to be able to participate in the revenue and opportunities that are going to come. So in that plaza, you know, that's where we have the opportunity to have, you know, Jamaican, Haitian, American cuisine, so that our Black businesses are there and can, you know, reap from the benefits of the cruise ships coming in, as well as the visitors coming from the airport. The estimated completion is 2024 because of the delays caused by the pandemic. Obviously, construction stopped for a time. And as I understand, is scheduled to be underway in October to pick back up in August, October, sometime this year. So at least they'll be getting started later on this year. I did want to put out there at our meeting last week, Balfour Beatty stated that 44% of the dollars spent to date have been with CBEs, and those are county business enterprises, and that's a specific certification that Broward County has that has its own, you know, net worth requirements, and you have to be headquartered in Broward County. And I can drop that requirement in the chat. But the vendor opportunities there. So there's a 30% CBE requirement for local vendors. And as I just reported, Balfour Beatty says they're above that at 44%. But that's on the construction side. So what does that mean? Businesses that whose ownership has 1.3 million or less in assets, and that's not including your homestead, can participate in this program. Obviously, you have to be headquartered in Broward, and there are some other requirements, but this really goes to the smallest of the smallest businesses being incorporated and utilized in this project. And we had a county commissioner that really championed that 30% because it used to be a lot lower at 20%. And so we're now at 30. Additional opportunities for local vendors to operate businesses within the hotel. That's what I was talking about earlier with making sure some of our Black businesses have opportunity to operate in the plaza, to operate their restaurants inside the hotel as well, gift shops and different things like that. There'll be retail stores inside the hotel. We want to make sure our Black businesses have the opportunity to be included after the construction is over. And so we have, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that right now, although in Palm Beach, you guys are ahead of us, and I love that you all have a WMBE program, but the Broward County programs are currently race neutral. So I'll say we don't have a WMBE program yet. But I do sit on the Small Business Advisory Board for the county, and we are heavily pushing for that. So watch out for that. I say yet because that is something on the horizon and something we've definitely been advocating for. So what has been our focus with these projects? Obviously, to increase the CBE and SBE certifications for our members and Black businesses in the region, period. So that's why we're here today. You're welcome to come on down and meet those requirements and get certified. As you can see, there's more than enough money to be made. We advocated for that 30% CBE spend. And then we advocated for some non-traditional chamber things. I believe that you have to have a strong workforce and stable workforce that is making money and able to spend money, as well as having healthy small businesses so that you have a healthy local economy. So we've advocated for the hard to hire outreach and utilization, as well as the utilization of apprenticeship programs for our Black high schools here in Broward County. So our students have opportunities to not just work as valets and, bag boys at these hotels, but actually get to work in the administrative and managerial positions as well. And I think with the other ones I've spoken about, that focus But then lastly, just working closely with Balfour Beatty to increase opportunities. So yes, we want to make sure we're maximizing opportunities on this hotel build, but we're engaging them to say, what other projects are you working on? Because we need to have opportunities there. And then lastly, what is your spend? As a company, what do you spend on professional services, et cetera, to see if there's opportunity there for us as well. And so this is my last spiel and hit to you guys to get certified with Broward County government. It's an easy certification and it's free. It's one of the easiest that you can do because once again, it's race neutral. Once you meet the basic net worth requirements, et cetera, and being headquartered here, having an office, not a virtual office, but an office here in Broward County, you pretty much qualify. They come out and check to make sure your office is in fact located here. They check that space out. And it's a pretty easy process now that they have it online. They started that this year, actually. Before you had to actually mail in your application, but now you can do it online. So it's a streamlined process. The next big spend, and it is a whopper. I don't know if you all heard about it in the news, but in November of 2018, the residents and voters here in Broward County voted to increase their tax by a penny. And that penny was supposed to go towards, we all know traffic in South Florida is horrible, but to go towards, creating a more multimodal, friendly structure here in Broward County. So you have multiple ways to get where you need to go and for it to be safe, right? Walking, biking, using public transportation, obviously by using some of those dollars to increase transit. And so that's why the tax was instituted. So once again, you see that 30% on CBE and SBE goals on eligible surtax projects. So you have it on the hotel, which is above 1 billion, and you have it on the surtax. Now this tax is going to be levied for 30 years, a 30-year period. And you see the numbers there. They're estimating 53 million annually just for our certified small businesses here in the county because of that 30% set aside. And then over 30 years, it's expected to be at the $1.59 billion that the county should have spent with certified small businesses. So this is huge. And the projects are varied. And it's not just on a county level, but as well as a city level. And we have 31 municipalities and towns here in Broward that can have access to those funds in order to have, transportation programs, roadways, bus shelters, et cetera, constructed or renovated and upgraded in their municipality. And as you can see, there are a lot of projects. They have about 1,100 in the pipeline, 400 plus are county projects, 700 plus are city projects. And I will note that because a lot of our cities don't have a small business program, they're going to be tapping into, once again, that CBE list. So there's a value and a benefit to be on that list because they also have to meet that 30% goal on their spend. They're not exempt from it. So they have to tap into that list if they want to utilize that transportation surtax dollars. So there's a benefit not just for the county spending, but on the city spending. So there's additional opportunity there. And this just kind of breaks down the process that the cities have to go through. I just thought it was important for you all to understand that the cities had to actually sign an interlocutory agreement. This is something that we went hard on in our advocacy because we know what happens with money. If people aren't, don't have to sign anything, they don't have to agree to anything up front, they're going to do what the heck they want with the money. And then there's no compliance piece, there's no follow-up, there's no clawback. And so they had to sign this agreement in order to have access to that 30%. And there is a compliance piece to that spend on the county end as well. They actually hired additional staff to be able to do the compliance piece on this spending. So as you can imagine, COVID hit. And so there was some delays in projects, but I just wanted you to get an idea of the volume of projects. So you see about 88 bus shelters were delayed for late 2020, and there was some postponement on some projects, 62 projects in 2021. But those should be starting up, like I mentioned with the hotel project, those should be starting back up. And some of them are actually in procurement now. And some of them are actually under construction now. They've started construction. And some are actually in procurement now to push through. So we'll have a lot of RFPs hitting the street shortly. I just wanted to give an example of one of the projects. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Lauderhill Mall. It's in on 441 close to Sunrise here in Broward County. And this is a bus shelter that was much needed. It's predominantly a minority community. That bus area is utilized heavily, and it had like two little shelters there for thousands of people kind of coming through daily. And so now they're finally going to build a shelter with facilities and cover and proper cover from the inclements for our from our weather that we have down here in Florida. And this is just to show you that construction has started on these projects. So these opportunities aren't just sitting on, you know, the table. We're actually pushing forward with construction. And just to give you an example, I sit on the advisory, small business advisory board for the county. We got this list. And as you can see, as you look through the list, project status, a lot of them are in procurement. On the total list that we received, that should be coming out, it's, I believe, $281 million that will be coming out. So my point is, get yourself certified, get yourself registered with BidSync for Broward County government so you can get the notifications if your company qualifies or has a nascent code that qualifies for one of the projects that are coming up. There's a lot going on. And as you can see, the vast majority of them have that, have a 30% goal for the CBE participation. And then there's an upcoming Zoom the county is having on May 20th, because what they're doing now is, instead of just talking about the larger projects, they're also bringing in the cities so people can understand the specific projects coming out through the cities. Because if it's a county project, obviously it's coming out through the county procurement. If it's a city project, you'll have to go to the individual cities to get that information. And so they're highlighting 4 cities here on the 20th. As if that wasn't enough, we have a joint government center coming up that Broward County and the city of Fort Lauderdale have combined to jointly develop this kind of government center campus downtown. If you've been downtown, you know, our county government seat is in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And so instead of having 2 separate, facilities for their administration, as well as for their, commissions, they're going to come together to create this huge governmental center campus. So they'll have a new administrative offices that will have approximately almost a 1 million square feet imprint. They're going to have an additional garage structure and bus terminal. So there's going to be a lot of building once again. And this is going to be located on the corner of Broward Boulevard and Andrews, in the heart of downtown. Not far from, I know you all know about Brightline, and we have a Brightline stop in our downtown as well. This is what it looks like. And there's spending that has gone on already. They paid an architectural firm $1.5 million to create this lovely design concept that you saw, that you just saw. So the RFP for the actual building of the project just went out in March. It closed at 2 p.m. on April 21st of this year. As you can see, the project is estimated to be at almost $1 billion. And so there's going to be, once they get the company that's going to actually build the project, they make that selection, which hopefully will be coming soon. Then you'll start to see the RFPs go out. I know Balfour Beatty told us last week that they bid on it. And so obviously if they bid on it, once again, they're not self-performing. You'll see a lot of RFPs going out for construction, engineering, architectural, et cetera, community outreach and that type stuff. And although we have quite a bit going on in Broward County with our school board, unfortunately, we've been in the news lately for a very unfortunate situation that has many people in our community, upset, to say the least. But I wanted to bring this up because the school board came out with a $800 million bond some years ago. So there's a lot of spending still going on with Broward County Public Schools. And they had completed their disparity study in 2017 and developed segmented goals for Hispanics, African-American, and women-owned businesses. And to be quite frank and honest, So a lot of advocacy and struggle to move that along. A lot of coalition building here in Broward, a lot of meetings, a lot of information requesting. So we got the true numbers with regard to spend, et cetera. But I can say to their credit, once the superintendent understood fully what was going on, there was movement and we got some unbundling of some contracts and new opportunities. And we also were able to remove that supplier diversity office out from under procurement. So they're independent and they have new leadership. And that's what you see here, the Economic Development and Diversity Compliance Department. And so they're in charge, obviously, of tracking the spend across all lines is what we're pushing for. I serve on their Small Business Advisory Committee too. And we're pushing for not just looking at construction, I get that, but we have Black businesses that do a lot of other things too. So we have them looking across all lines and then being proactive in reaching out to our Black business community to get them to trust the process with the school board again. And they really are doing that and they're listening. So I do have to give them some credit and pulling them in to bid on these contracts and so that they'll be utilized. So these are just some of the services that they provide. And these are kind of some of the numbers. The report is on the website, but clearly we have some work to do with regard to pulling in our African-American businesses so that they bid and so that they're in fact utilized. But they're willing to do the work and they are coming up with creative ideas to bring them in. And one was recently they had listening sessions with the particular segments that are still lagging, whose disparity hasn't been corrected. So for the Hispanic goal, their goal has been met and exceeded. With regard to the African-American goal and the Black women-owned businesses, there still needs to be some improvement to correct that disparity. And so the point is there's plenty of opportunity at the school board with regard to building, with regard to renovations of schools. Roofing is a huge issue. It's a huge issue. We need more roofers here in Broward County to get the work done. But then you see some other opportunities there at the school board. So it pays to be certified with them as well. And like I said, they at least have a WMB program with segmented goals for Black businesses specifically that they're working to increase their numbers and actually correct the disparity. So that's why I bring that up. And then this is a system they use for you to get certified. This eProcure powered by Ariba. And that's on their website, or you can Google that. That's easy to find. So I implore you all to do that. And then just a quick brush up, I guess, on what we're doing as a chamber to make sure we're strengthening our businesses here in Broward County, and we're representing our businesses as best as we can on all three fronts. So when we launched, we were launched with our C6, proper chamber designation. We got our C3 last summer because of all of the pledges of money from corporations, et cetera, and statements that came out about their commitment to small business. And so we wanted to make sure we were able to get some of that money. And we'll be working on our C4 this summer to kind of close that gap and make sure we're representing our members as best we can on all forefronts. And this was the piece I wanted to piggyback on with Frank was saying with regard to coalition building and our focus here at the chamber. For Broward County Black Chamber, we're solely focused on Broward and being the expert in what's happening there, because guess what? There's enough to keep us busy. And we have you as a chamber to the north and the Palm Beach Black Chamber to let us know what's going on in Palm Beach. And we have a Miami-Dade chamber down there because these counties are big. There's a lot going on. And so my point is we need each other to draw on and to strengthen each other. And so what we did, I did here in Broward, was to kind of pull in under our umbrella and created COBOL. So it's just a mashup of a coalition made up of the Black lawyers, Black doctors, Black teachers, Black nurses, we're just Black engineers, just bringing in everybody. And then I created this Florida Association of Black Chambers of Commerce to create a coalition building along the lines of what Frank was talking about. because we're in our silos working very hard. But I feel that if we come together and we ask for the money that we deserve from state governments, from the federal government, from corporations, that we have the ability to get more together and do more for our members. And lastly, I just wanted to mention the Southern Region Economic Roundtable. That's information that I promised I'd send off to Frank, because I think it may be a valuable thing for the Black Chamber in Palm Beach to also be a part of, or something for you all to think about. I was approached by, once again, it's coalition building. The fact that we have the vast majority of Black people in the United States live in the South. And let's be honest, the South handed these elections to the winners. We were very instrumental in that. And so we want to make sure our Black businesses and our Black communities get the resources that they deserve. And so there's been a movement in the South, specifically in Georgia. All 7 of their Black chambers have united in that state to go after federal funding. They've reached out to their chambers in North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi now, and Florida, going after to draw down monies from the federal government. So we're coalescing around going after collectively a SBA grant. We strategize weekly on how we can make sure Black chambers are getting monies, this CARES Act money that's coming down to the counties and cities, to see what other people are doing and how we can replicate that in our locations. Some of the chambers are bigger. I'm a young chamber. I'm not even 3 years old. I'll be 3 years old in August. And some of them are a little bit more expansive in their reach. So they're going after an HHS grant. And then obviously we have to monitor the infrastructure bill that will be closely following behind. And so that's just something I wanted to put out there for us to think about, and collaborating and building together, and not being afraid to work together so that we get more and not less. And just as an example of that and what other people are doing, after we lost Amazon, you see the 3 entities there came together and formed the South Florida Business Council. On that board, there's not one of us. Well, I'm sorry, there's one of us, but they represent a corporation. There's not a small Black business owner. There's not a Black chamber. There's no one there to advocate for the growth of Black businesses, especially since Black businesses have been devastated by this pandemic. And so I just put that there to underscore the importance of us coming together and strategizing, sharing information, just helping each other help our businesses in our respective communities, and kind of strategizing along this level. And so I've reached out to the Black Chamber in Tallahassee and Orlando. Of course, Frank and I have conversations as well to see how we can coalesce around pulling down federal dollars, state dollars, and definitely the corporate dollars, so that they're just more than statements, that we're not just asking for 10 or 50,000, that collectively we're asking for $500,000 or $1 million, and really pulling down serious funds to help our Black businesses. So that, with that being said, I thank you for having me. I hope I didn't talk too much. Lawyers tend to talk a lot. But I cut myself, short. But thank you all for having me. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to working more with you all, my neighbors to the north.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome. So at this time, we will open it up for audience questions. So we've got an intimate group. So if you have a question, please raise your hand or go ahead and speak if you have any questions for Ms. Gelin.
I do. So to be clear, excuse me, you have to be a resident of Broward County. Is that correct, to do business with you guys?
No, the county requires that you are headquartered here, right? So in essence, you have to have an office here, and it can't be virtual. And we can talk offline, but that's That's the rule. It can't be, a virtual office, but it can be, say with some type of shared space, but you have an office there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, the standalone huge capital expense for you. But that's the rule. They need some place in essence to be able to visit, see that you have a desk and, your official, have some pictures, on your desk and stuff. So they need a place to visit to say, yes, you're here in Broward County. So I think you catch my drift, Michael. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Look, we're small businesses, and let's be honest, we want to operate, and I don't know I tell my members, you need to be operating in all 3 counties. And if I have people that contact me and, my question is, what type of business do you have and where are you located right now? And I have people call from Palm Beach and I'm like, well, you have a Black chamber. You need to go on up there before you start trying to come down to Broward, because you have help there. As my point is, you want to go where it's easiest for you to start business. And then you can see if you can kind of come to Broward and Miami-Dade County and do that. But to incur all of those fees to have an office in each county, I get it. I mean, like I said, when we started, I'm a small business owner as well. So there are ways to do that in a shared kind of co-working space and still have an office and get the certification.
This is the Q&A, so we do encourage questions.
Maybe the presentation was just real good.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So while we're waiting for them, I have a question about the South Florida Business Council.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I noticed the chambers that you had there. Were those Black chambers or?
No, that was my point. That was my point.
Okay, because I saw that the Chamber of the Palm Beach is up there, so I wanted to.
Yes, and then Fort Lauderdale Chamber, that's the majority chamber, as well as the Greater Miami Chamber, that's the majority chamber.
Okay.
So my point was, they have one of us on the board, and that's represented in a corporation. So there's no Black chamber that's a part of it, no Black business owner that's a part of it,
Okay.
Which is critical. I mean, we're in South Florida. It's multicultural. We have, Black businesses all over in all 3 counties. So, but yet we're not included in that conversation. And so that's why I just think it's that much more important for us to make sure we're collaborating and we're sharing information and we're kind of working collaboratively for our Black businesses.
Absolutely. And so there's some work for us. We have a very good relationship with the Chamber of the Palm Beaches, and they have a new CEO who is a gentleman of color.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very nice. We don't have that. And so we're working hard in Broward to change the trajectory. We recently advocated for the commission to pass a racial equity task force that was passed. And so we're grabbing in that Fort Lauderdale Chamber, the Broward workshop, which is like, all the CEOs of Auto Nation and Jam families to really start having crucial and necessary conversations and action around equity. So because we don't have that diversity in the business sector leadership that you just mentioned is not quite there in Broward.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm looking at our time. We do have time for 1 or 2 more questions before we move the agenda. So this is last call. If you do have a question, please feel free to ask it at this time.
Okay, so I'll ask another question.
Okay.
Never shy. As a corporate photographer located here in West Palm Beach, I do work all over the state.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you, I see what you're looking at as the future coming up for 2022 to 2024, excuse me. But what's current now that we could be looking at for business owners like myself? Because as I talk to these event planners, they're still kind of scared and hesitant to come to South Florida because of COVID. So what do you see in the very near future that, projects that we can go after as a photographer or as a studio?
Yeah, and that's a little bit tougher because the projects that I discussed are current and, but it's more construction and, or even, PR, compliance type firms, things of that nature, or some of the professional services, accounting, some of the legal work, and the firms that do outreach and some technical assistance. So there's opportunities now for that. Given the pandemic, I mean, it's difficult. Everything is slowly opening back. And I think Broward, with our executive orders coming from our county administrator, we were one of the slower counties to kind of open back up and ease restrictions. And so, with the recent announcement and order from the governor, everybody's kind of forced to open back up. And I'm sure that we'll still find a way to kind of be a little bit more cautious than the other counties. So I understand, even as I talk to, my members and trying to understand, for our caterers and events, it's coming back slowly, Michael. To be honest with you, people are still hesitant to have in-person events. And that's where you're going to thrive, the in-person events or even coming into studio. So I would say to give it a little bit more time. I'm hearing that it will ease up, hopefully by, August. I'm having those conversations and a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm getting bookings in August. But it's not for lack of trying. I mean, our business community here didn't even want to shut down. But so they're egging and pushing the county to really open up and hopefully, with them opening up, we'll have more live events and larger events and people will feel more comfortable. And so, the photographers, the caterers, the event planners will be able to come back out and thrive again and have those business opportunities. So my answer to you is in that particular industry, it's still dragging a little bit, to be honest. But I think by August, it'll pick back up, especially because school will be, people are going to be forced to send their kids back to school. They'll have a bit more mobility and won't be stuck at home, homeschooling like me.
Thank you, Ms. Gelin. Can you put your information in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, great. For anyone that may want to contact you, we are recording today's session, so we will have that available to our members through the newsletter. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Tracy Thomas to highlight our new members, and Tracy will be followed by Grassford Smith, our chair, who will close us out for the afternoon. I just want to say on behalf of the Black Chamber, thank you for joining us. And Tracy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Keely. I wanted to just share with our today, the newest members that we have on board with us. We have JG Estates LLC, who is a new member, as well as Class G Drone LLC. So those are the newest members that we have of the Black Chamber. And those that are on this call that are interested in membership, make sure to visit our website, blackchamberpbc.com. The application is on there, or you can always just contact me directly and I can get you that information. Okay, you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm to close out the show. First of all, Shaheewa, it's so great to see you. I've known Shaheewa, by the way, for many years before her current role as the chair of Broward County Black Chamber. And as you can all tell, she is doing an incredible job for her constituencies. And we certainly would love to continue working with you in the various things that you're working on. We recognize that some of these boundaries separating counties are largely unofficial, or rather not really real. And so we definitely, our businesses look for opportunities down south. I know I do as an attorney. I practice in Broward and Dade. And whether you're a photographer or whatever you do, if there are opportunities, you want to go get it where it is. So we definitely look forward to continue working with you. As Tracy said, please visit our website. We are definitely laser focused with Frank Hayden as our chair of membership committee on making sure that our member benefits are aligned with your needs. And thank you, Keely, for always doing a great job and bringing us together. And we didn't have any more questions, so we're going to give you your afternoon back. But stay in touch with us and look out for our next programming. Tracy, why don't you tell them what's coming up next so that we can do that to end out.
Our next programming, as far as, well, Friday, we do have a PPP restaurant funding program that we have our corporate partner, Valley National Bank, is going to be posting that. So this is new. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware. Just go to the website. That information is being added today, but this was a last minute event that was put together for Friday for capital. You know, we're speaking on those restaurants and the funds that's out there for that. And anything else that we have right now is currently in the making. And just make sure to visit the site. We're always updating this event calendar. There's trainings. We have minority, small business boot camp. We're in session 4 right now of that. Go and check it out. There's so many different trainings and programs out there that we are providing for our members. So just keep an eye out on that. And if you haven't already, make sure to contact me to get on the newsletter, to get our newsletter that we send out on a weekly basis.
And Tracy, I'll just add, I just want to thank the city of West Palm Beach and let our members know that the city will be sponsoring another Ask an Expert in June. I believe that's June 12th. And actually, we're going to hear from the president of the Miami-Dade, and it's further expanding those opportunities. So as Tracy said, that information is on the site. But thank you to the city of West Palm Beach, Frank and his team.
Thank you, Frank, for all that you do for us, including the city. Thank you very much. And definitely, as Tracy said, check out the newsletter. We're putting a lot into that to make sure you get a lot of information. So please do that. Frank, go ahead, Frank.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you all so very much, but thank my good friend from Broward. You did help me remember that we did do a joint venture down there, but that's just a sign I'm getting old. I don't remember as much as I used to, but thank you. The information you provided was outstanding, and it is nothing to cross the border and come do business. And so I'm sure our members will take advantage of that. They will remain loyal to the Black Chamber of Palm Beach County, but they'll take your dollars like they take our dollars as well. So thank you very much for the presentation. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.